Today we have a very special guest, Mrs. Awad, who is with Agriculture in the Classroom program. And she's going to talk to us about a very important subject, growing the food we eat.
Thank you, Mrs. Williams. Well, I am really excited about being here today, and I can see that you've already decorated your classroom with pictures about agriculture. What do you think of when you hear the word agriculture?
Plants and seeds to grow something.
Well, that's part of it. Actually, agriculture involves a lot of different activities that bring food and other products from farms to you. Today, we're mostly going to talk about farming. How many of you live on a farm? How many of you have ever visited a farm? In that case, I bet you have a lot of questions about farming. Who would like to begin?
What's a farm?
This is the Oswald Farm in Nebraska. It's one of about 2 million farms in the United States. No two farms are exactly alike. On some, farmers grow grain crops. On others, farmers raise vegetables, fruit, or maybe flowers. Some farmers raise animals. Some raise fish in farm ponds. In the western part of the United States, large farms that raise livestock such as beef cattle, sheep, or horses are called ranches. What all farms have in common is land, and what all farmers and ranchers do is produce things from the land that we use in everyday life, like food and clothing.
Farming would be the ground level of the food production chain. These are where the first products that are necessary to make the food that you'll see in the grocery store, where they originate from.
You may not realize all the products that come from a farm like the Oswalds.
We're raising, for the most part, commodity products. You don't go to the grocery store and buy corn, for instance, but you do buy cornflakes or a corn oil, products that are made from these raw commodities. And in the soybean line, it might be a tofu product or other products that contain soybeans. In the livestock side, we sell our animals to a processing plant who then turn the pork in particular to pork chops, bacon, ham, pepperoni for pizza, a lot of different products that the consumer can then use.
The Oswald Farm has a number of different buildings, including a machine shed where equipment is stored and repaired. The family's home also is located on the farm. Farms are neat places for kids to grow up.
What can grow on an acre?
Farm fields are measured in acres. There are different ways to measure how much grows on an acre. Some crops, like corn, soybeans, and wheat, are measured in bushels. Cotton is measured in bales. A farmer can grow 1.5 bales of cotton on 1 acre. This is how big an acre is, about the size of a football field.
Most people know the size of a football field. An acre will fit just inside of that football field. And on that acre, we can grow 1,800 t-shirts of cotton.
Of course, before cotton is turned into t-shirts or blue jeans, a lot has to happen.
We plant in April. The main thing in this area is have the right weather conditions, the right amount of fertilizer, protect it from the insects, just try to keep the weeds out of the fields. And we usually harvest the 1st September.
Harvesting cotton is a big job requiring special machinery. After harvest, cotton is taken to a plant called a gin, where it's separated from the seed.
When it goes through the cotton gin, the seed's removed from the lint. The lint's compressed into a bale, which is about 500 pounds. A bale of cotton is the lint after the seed's been taken out, and that's what goes directly to the mills to be turned into blue jeans, t-shirts, or fine linen.
Many kinds of crops grow on an acre, and most farmers have many acres.
What crop is grown the most?
Corn's the #1 crop in the United States. And we're right in the heart of the Corn Belt, and corn is king around here.
In the United States, more than twice as much corn is produced as any other grain crop. Let's ride with Mr. Mahacek as he harvests his corn. The machine he is driving is called a combine. It takes the ears off the plants and the kernels off the cobs. Corn has many possible uses.
Well, it's mainly used for livestock feed, or a large portion of it is, and another tremendous market for it is corn sweeteners and ethanol, alcohol production.
There are more than 3,500 uses for corn, and we ship a lot of corn overseas for sale to other countries.
What we have here is 1 bushel of corn. It's 56 pounds. That's how we sell our corn, is by 56 pounds to the bushel. And this is a bushel basket. We expect to harvest somewhere, it varies of course depending on the weather and everything, but 140 to as high as 180 or 90 bushels per acre.
Through much of the year, the corn plant is green, but it turns brown after the stalk is done producing an ear.
Well, this is a typical corn plant, and this is the ear. You know what? We know that this plant is mature. Notice how the ear is hanging down. When this plant was growing, the ear was pointed up like this. And that's one of the ways we tell that the corn has matured, is when the ear drops. And we want this shank right here that the ear is attached to be strong, because if that doesn't hold on, the ear drops on the ground and we lose it. So the picker will harvest that ear, it'll break the ear off and take it in, and this is the ear of corn that we harvest.
When Mr. Mahacek's corn is brought in from the field, it's dumped through a grate and moves underground and up through pipes to the storage bins. He can store thousands of bushels of corn here, but billions of bushels of corn are grown in the whole country.
How much water does it take to make a crop grow?
A farmer must get the right amount of water on each crop. The amount depends on whether the crop is fruit, vegetables, grain, or, in this case, Mr. Searle's potatoes in Idaho.
It takes 20 inches. A football field is about 1 acre. And put 20 inches of water completely over that thing, standing water up to my knees. That's what it'd take to grow a crop of potato. In an acre, in this football field, we'd probably have 90,000 plants. And each of those plants would need 42 gallons, a lot of water.
Although Idaho is known for great potatoes, they don't get enough rain. Farmers water the crop with huge sprinklers. This is called irrigation.
There's a well that's down in the ground 300 feet, supplying the water here. The other water that we rely on is from reservoirs, from the snow that we receive through the winter. It comes down the rivers into the canals, and we pump out of the canals.
Farmers are careful to pump just enough water to grow their crop. This saves water and is called conservation.
This potato plant, I'm going to dig it up. You can see the little hair roots. They'll extend out 4 or 5 feet, and they'll grab moisture, water, or fertilizer, and with that, you can feed that plant.
Water feeds the potato, and the potato feeds you. Think about that the next time you bite into a French fry.
What is soil?
The best time to see soil on the farm is in the spring, because by summer, plants cover almost every inch of the ground. One way to study soil is to take a core sample. Mr. Kinsella, who is a soil scientist and a farmer, has already done that and will tell us about soil.
Soil is made up of sand, silt, and clay. Those are the mineral components of soil. When you put sand, silt, and clay together, it's just dirt. It really isn't soil. What makes sand, silt, and clay soil is adding organic matter, or humus. Humus is really just dead plant material. Beans, corn, grass, trees break down into organic matter, or humus. We add that component to sand, silt, and clay, and then we have soil. Soil is living, it's alive. It has millions of little microbes in it, and it also has earthworms. Earthworms are a very important component of soil. They really go through the soil, they eat the organic matter, and they help convert the organic matter to the humus. And they also drill holes in the soil that allows for more air and water. The soil really does several things for the plants. It provides air and water and nutrients, but it also holds the plant up. It provides stability for the plant. So without soil, we wouldn't have food, and without food, we wouldn't be here.
What is the tractor used for?
Tractors are found on almost all farms and are one of the farmer's most important pieces of equipment.
Well, everybody needs a certain tool, no different than a carpenter needing a hammer. Farmers would be really lost without a tractor. I mean, they replaced horses back in the turn of the century. It's our power equipment. It's our way of actually allowing one person or two people to do multiple acres. We have smaller ones that we plant with, smaller ones that we mow pastures and hay with, a few that we use for just kind of universal things, whether it's just moving wagons around the farm or pulling equipment.
Most modern tractors are designed to keep farmers comfortable. Farmers spend long workdays on their tractors.
That's our office. We spend more time in there almost than we do at home a lot of times. On the newer style tractor, they've got nice radios in there and you got your air conditioning. They got air ride seats in there. I mean, it's almost like riding in a car. During our planting season, we'll spend anywhere from 12 to 14 hours a day in a tractor, plowing the fields, to working up the soil, to stir the soil up, to loosen it up. Then after the corn gets grown, well then you come through, and as you're harvesting it, you got tractors that drive next to the combine and pull a grain cart or a wagon or something beside it. Feeding cows, we use them for feeding all our cattle around here. Tractor's not built for speed. A tractor is built more for pulling power and not speed.
Although not fast, tractors are very powerful machines and are essential tools for running a farm.
What do kids do on farms?
There is always something to do on the farm. It takes a lot of work to run a farm, and at the Meschkes, the whole family helps.
We help feed and water sheep and feed and water rabbits and help check the bins if they have feed and walk through the pig barns and see if any of them are sick and see if they need any shots.
Derek and Brent keep busy in the summer getting their sheep ready to show at the fair. That includes giving them a bath.
You have to rinse them down and put woolite on them.
And then you scrub the soap in.
And then rub it in and then wash them off again and then scrub their hooves.
Then you put blankets on them so flies don't get on them.
You have to really make sure you hold on to them and don't let them get away.
After the lamb is caught, there is still work to be done, checking to see that everything on the farm is in order, such as fences that keep farm animals in. Derek and Brent learn a lot about farming from their dad.
What's that?
Well, see, sometimes if the combine didn't pick up your corn and it falls on the ground, then the next spring when you're tilling up the ground, you bury it, and then that corn will start growing. It'll start germinating. And that's what you call volunteer corn.
You're learning responsibility. You're learning that sometimes you do have to put in some long hours.
They're real good help building fence or sorting out sheep. It's fun to watch them because they'll also need to start taking over, knowing what to do. You don't have to tell them as much. It's good to see.
And, of course, life on a farm isn't all work. Along with computer games indoors, there are many fun things to do outdoors on the farm. Derek and Brent like to take on their parents in a game of softball.
A farm is a great place to raise a family.
Where does milk come from?
Most milk comes from cows on dairy farms. These cows are headed to the milking parlor. Mrs. Prokop, a dairy farmer, will explain what happens there.
We're here in the milking parlor where 3 times a day we milk the cows at 4, at noon, and 8 o'clock at night. We milk 8 cows on each side, and we do it very carefully. As you can see, Joe has gloves on, so he's sanitary. He starts the milk, he cleanses the cow, then he dries her off, and he places the milking machine on her. And vacuum pulls the milk, draws it out of the cow, through stainless steel pipe, and into the bulk tank where it's kept nice and cool.
The milk truck driver visits the farm every day. He samples the fresh milk for quality and pumps it into the tanker. Between milking times, the farmer is still busy, but the cows can relax.
These are our little ladies. They're about a month old, and they're going to have lunch now. They have some milk for lunch. They also get grain and a little hay. And as you can see, they have pierced earrings with numbers in them. And those numbers tell us who's who.
It takes a lot to feed this herd of 280 cows. Mr. Prokop feeds them hay and silage, which is chopped hay or chopped corn. They also get protein. Cows need a healthy diet to produce the most milk. Each of these cows gives almost 10 gallons of milk per day.
A lot goes into a glass of milk. Every morning, getting up at 4 in the morning, a day that lasts more than 12 hours of work. All of the time and the energy and the care that goes into producing that milk so that everybody can enjoy milk and all of the other products that come from milk.
Why do farmers harvest trees?
One of the main reasons is because trees don't live forever. If you don't harvest them, they die and they're gone. But I harvest my trees to make room for younger